I'm so excited to be with you today talking about a topic that is very close to my heart. So, this year, as the US and the world starts to reopen after the pandemic, we are thrust into the future of work. The changes that we thought would come in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years are on our doorstep now. And so, with the future of work upon us, we want to talk about an innovation at the intersection between people and technology that will really transform the way that we think about work and the way that employees experience work. So, when we talk about the future of work, here's what I'm talking about. One is systemic risk. Of course, we experienced this with the pandemic. Second is robots and automation. So technology being able to increase and in sometimes replacing human capacity. Third is the tsunami of employee data. And fourth is employee power. And so we've saw this a lot across the last year, demanding better employee experiences, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And these are all coming at organizations. These are the four shocks of the future of work. And successful organizations who are building processes to see around corners and use the challenges as opportunities, they build agility to future-proof against the systemic risk. They emphasize creativity in the augmented work environment, working hard to translate data into insights, into action, and still being curious about what's possible. And also empathy for employees, what motivates them, truly delivering on an employee experience that offers support, recognition, and agency. Forrester Research actually shows that firms with high creativity achieve employee engagement at twice the rate than the average firm. And when you think about why this matters, this is kind of a in case you missed it moment last year, but the SEC's human capital disclosure mandate really changes the game for us. So those of us in talent and HR have known this forever, but the SEC mandating the disclosure of human capital investments and processes marks a new era for business. So it's really a recognition that how we attract people, who we hire, how we develop them, manage them, give them fulfilling work, how we engage them, all of that really matters to the value of a company. Our people strategies matter now more than ever, especially given the shift in the US economy towards the services. With the services industries dominating the US economy, this means that knowledge work, constant skill development, and innovation to maintain competitive advantage is the most critical activity that an organization can engage in. And when we think about the most important talent strategies out there to help unlock that potential and that competitive advantage, I think about talent mobility. So talent mobility to me is the one ring to rule them all. This is the intersection. It brings in both talent acquisition, learning and development, performance management, succession management, growth, recognition, career management, and rewards. And yes, it's extremely useful for organizations to reduce the friction within their own walls, but also outside to think of extended talent networks. More and more organizations are thinking about broader talent networks across partners and competitors alike. Now, before we talk about FutureFit talent mobility, we want to ground in more traditional talent mobility and those benefits of even just hiring internally. So the metrics are pretty solid on this, that companies retain more employees, save more money, and are more likely to be satisfied with internal hires. But that's only half the story. There is actually a huge caveat with these metrics. There are two ways to find internal hires. One, through a more formal process of posting, posting an opportunity, and the second through an informal network. It's like, who do you know? You have a job opening and the manager says, oh, well, I know John over there. He has those skills. He would be good at this. So a few years ago, Harvard Business Review really dove into this question and wanted to parse out who was more successful in terms of the hiring strategy. They had a question about the quality of employees hired in new positions through a more formal process with the job posting or through knowing someone. And what they found is really, really fascinating. They found that employees hired through the informal knowing someone process consistently underperformed versus those that were hired through a more formal process. Specifically, they found that candidates hired through internal postings outperformed on almost every dimension of quality, from ramping up time to top performance to retention versus attrition. And so we think about why. Why did that happen? Well, it's easy to intuit the answer, and something that comes up repeatedly in the research around talent mobility is that who you know is not always a great indicator of who would do the job well. And so in your organization, who are those people you don't know? Maybe they have skills you had no idea about from past experiences. And wouldn't it be great to have a way to really highlight all of those candidates and all of those employees from around your organization, not limited to who you know or who is in your informal network at work? And that's where the talent marketplace comes in. So this is help managing all the opportunities, right? Because when you think about the talent team trying to manage all the opportunities within an organization, especially beyond roles, but thinking about maybe projects or learning experiences or mentorships or coaching, it would be such a burden for them not to have a technological solution and partner to help them do that. And that's why the talent marketplace, especially with AI at the center, helps ensure diverse candidates. It reduces the friction from employees and managers to keep up with all the skills and match to opportunities. Here, AI can really serve to infer skills and proficiencies based on past roles and experiences. It helps do the matching, so it can match candidates and employees to those projects that are open and notify hiring managers that, hey, there are actually 20 people in the organization who have this skill that you might not have known about. And so it opens up a lot of fluidity by reducing that friction. And so the talent marketplace can really serve as this central point for opportunities and unlocking those opportunities for employees. So artificial intelligence itself helps enable scalability, diversity and inclusion, and adoption, because you can reduce the manual effort required by all employees and by proactively suggesting matches across the pool. So imagine what you could unlock in terms of employee potential and employee experience by harnessing AI to help do that work for you. So FutureFit Talent Mobility is adaptive, uses technology to accelerate and augment human capacity and capability, and future-proof against the future of work shocks that we talked about earlier. So when you look at all of these models of different teams, if the one on the right totally shocks you, of course, you don't have to do that. But FutureFit Talent Mobility does present the opportunity to make dynamic teaming possible in your organization. If you still want to maintain a lot of the hierarchy or command control kind of techniques in your organization, that is totally fine. And talent mobility really helps just increase the fluidity and mobility of your employees across your organizational structure. And so beyond the more basic benefits of talent mobility, FutureFit Talent Mobility, and especially with the talent marketplace, it helps to unlock additional benefits. here in terms of business agility and adaptability with deployment. So this is a use case from the pandemic. A firm was able to redeploy some of its staff across its various business units that were experiencing different levels of need, of course, in the pandemic. And then 2, unlocked hours of productivity. One firm unlocked 40,000 additional hours of productivity in their first year using a talent marketplace. And number 3, this is all about operating margin and efficiencies. So one firm was able to see the 9% improvement on operating margin, which they attributed to their talent marketplace. So if you're thinking, well, I want to bring that inside my organization, there are just 4 things to keep in mind as you start thinking about this particular strategy and a talent marketplace. So first is needs assessment. Across your organization, are there other business units? Are there business units that might be a little bit more appropriate to using a talent marketplace than not? And so you can think about either doing a pilot or even rolling out based on need within that function. Particular functions that might be more conducive to projects or agility, less of that command and control hierarchy structure. The second is intelligence. What do you know about your employees? What are their skills? What are their aspirations, experiences? How do they want their career to move and grow? Third is job deconstruction. And this is thinking about, for every job description you have, what are the skills necessary for that job? And then also, what are the responsibilities of that job? What are the projects? How is it combined into a job description? Can you think about using the talent marketplace to pick apart some of those job descriptions into their own disparate pieces in terms of the skills required and the projects? And then can you actually recompose your workforce, thinking about assigning people and their various skills with their time to the projects that matter most in your organization via the talent marketplace? And then 4th is thinking about culture. Culture is a tricky thing, and this is really, really important with all technology adoption projects, right? But the change management required for managers, think critically about your managers. Are they incentivized to encourage fluidity and mobility across the organization? Or instead, are they trying to hoard talent and keep it for themselves? They don't want to get rid of their great people. They don't want to let them go. And so how are you recognizing and rewarding your managers for growing and nurturing talent and then sending them out in the organization for other projects? These are 4 things to think about as you consider bringing in a talent marketplace or even thinking about a FutureFit talent mobility. So FutureFit talent mobility, of course, it's technology enabled. It's adaptive, it's creative, it's resilient. And with AI at the center, it reduces the friction and also increases the level of opportunity that you have. So increasing diversity and inclusion across the organization. And with that, it's been a pleasure talking to you about FutureFit talent mobility and the talent marketplace. I see it as a huge opportunity for our organizations around the world to increase agility and help employees grow their careers and their employee experiences. Thank you.